Welcome to this Chamber Low Carbon Live Lunch and Learn. I'm Stephen Sykes, Director of Sustainability at East Lancs Chamber of Commerce, and I manage the Chamber Low Carbon Programme and your host for today's session. Just a few housekeeping items before we start. All participants are on mute, so if you've got any questions, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen, and my colleague Klurska and myself will be monitoring to capture your questions. There is also a chat function to introduce yourself and to say hello to the room and where you're from if you so wish. Today's session is being recorded and will be available to watch again on the Chamber Low Carbon YouTube channel. For those unfamiliar with the programme, Chamber Low Carbon is brought to you by East Lancs Chamber of Commerce in partnership with North and Western Lancs Chamber of Commerce, Business-Wise Solutions and Boost, supporting businesses across Lancashire to go green, save money and reduce their carbon footprint. Part funded by the European Union, European Regional Development Fund, this £6 million programme provides a suite of fully funded services to help businesses improve their energy and environmental efficiencies and to introduce on-site renewable energy generation, and by doing so, reducing their carbon footprint and saving money. The programme also helps Lancashire businesses that are developing new low carbon technologies to bring their products to market, facilitate them being manufactured in Lancashire, and help them to find demonstrator sites within Lancashire. Today's live lunch and learn is brought to you by Manuel Martin, the co-founder and growth director of myFootprint, an online tool for recording and reporting your carbon footprint. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Manuel and invite him to take over the microphone.
Thank you, Stephen. Today I'm going to talk about two things. So first, why it's important for companies to measure their carbon footprint. And two, we're going to have a live session where anybody here listening today, they can directly measure their carbon footprint, the carbon footprint of their companies. So if you could please go to slide one, Stephen. So the idea is that the carbon footprint is a journey. We have lots of regulation globally that have come out in the recent years, and nobody really knows, or nobody knows about the subject, how to really measure the carbon footprint. What we always say is this is a journey for every single business. It's not a journey for large polluting companies, but also for a bakery or a hairdresser. It's something that every single company should know and should be aware of what is their emissions. So in the next 10 years, many companies from every side, we focus or we help companies from 1 to 250 employees, but everyone will need to understand their carbon footprint and what's going to be their journey to become net zero. So governments have set some targets. The European Union and the United States have said that in the 2050, they will be a carbon neutral continent. China has said that in 2060, there will be a carbon neutral continent. So all of these regulations that will come in the coming years is going to affect every single business. So some companies now may not be affected, but in the near future, they will. So the better they understand if the regulation is going to impact them and how it's going to impact their value chain and their business, the better. Second, there's a change on customers' behaviors. And I see all around different businesses, I see the difference between probably young generations and older generations. But the statistics says that 53% of customers, they are interested in buying products that emit low carbon footprint and have zero or close to zero emissions. Third, we know that 71% of employees, they are, obviously this changes from sector to sector, but they are really interested in working for businesses that have a low carbon impact. And the last investors. There are several banks in the UK, like Barclays Bank or any other Santander, Abyss Bank, that have really created a long regulation. Obviously, they have been forced to, where in the next years, companies will not receive a loan if their carbon footprint is not measured and reduced, and there is a very open and transparent accountability of the carbon footprint. So this is just new. This is going to come and it's going to affect every single business. Next, Stephen, please. So, however, for SMEs, measuring a carbon the footprint has many challenges, right? First of all, where do we start? Okay, it's complex, right? Large companies, they can hire a sustainability manager where they can go into the company and really measure every single aspect. So what is, for instance, our bill for electricity? What is the building that we're going to the office? How many travels and trips by car or by plane do we take every month? So there's a complexity because there's one person that needs to be in charge and needs to be hired. It's costly as well. Not everybody, not as small as SMEs, they don't have the power or the will to hire these people to do all this research inside the company. And third, it's time consuming. If you hire a sustainability manager, it will take probably from 3 to 6 months to give you a final outcome. So these are the biggest challenges that every company, I'm sure you guys are encountering if you have any interest in doing this. So what we propose having this problem, or what is, I mean, we're one of many softwares. What we really like is to people to measure, reduce, offset, and communicate their carbon footprint in a very simple way. And this we're going to do it today live. So the idea that we'll explain you later is that in 10 minutes, just answering some questions, you can have 80 to 90% of your carbon footprint measured. And that's things that is one of the only solutions is that software and technology could really help companies calculate, reduce, offset, and communicate. So what I'll explain later, so once I finish the presentation, is you are going to take a quick test. So from every single company, this will take 5 minutes, and you're going to calculate your carbon footprint. Okay, 15 different questions about different subjects, and you will know what is your carbon footprint today. Then the question comes to the reduce. So the reduce is that now today you know your carbon footprint. What is going to be your milestones on the next 5 to 10 years to try to reduce that carbon footprint? Are you going to cut on travel? Are you going to cut on electricity? Are you going to save cost while you're doing this? Or this is going to be more cost effective? It's very important. Third is the offset. We always advise companies that the best thing is to reduce. And if companies do a right plan and they understand that this is a journey, they can really reduce the carbon footprint. But nevertheless, there are some companies that prefer to do or also want to do the offset. So they could plant trees on the Amazonia, or they could invest in different projects for solar energy in Africa or India. So this one part companies can do as well. And the last thing is communicate. The communication is key. One of the feedbacks that we get from most of our customers, either governments or small companies, is that communication is key for different reasons. First, you are sending a message to your customers, you're sending a message to your employees, and you're sending a message to your investors. You have a batch, that batch that we'll talk later on. You can put it on your emails, you can put it on your website, you can put it on your social media. And this has an impact because you're telling other companies, look, I'm one of the leading people in my area leading on this way. I'm being very transparent in what I'm doing. Why do you don't do the same thing? So the batch and the communication has a big impact as well. This is the picture of our team. So we all come, I mean, myself, I come from tech world. I'm very new to sustainability from the last year and a half that I've been to this. So I come from the unicorn uh, company's background. I was a partner at the company that became a unicorn. My associates, Alexis and Julio, they became from the sustainability. So he was an associate at McKinsey, and Julio, he was a sustainability manager at Engie. So we have crafted a great team, plus Gala and Kara, that were passionate about the subject. And we see every single day that more and more companies are joining us in the journey with their needs. Some of them, they have lower budgets, sometimes they have larger budgets, but the good thing is that they are all trying to enter this new journey that is going to cover all news and is going to cover all businesses in the next 10 years. So the sooner the better. And with this, I would like you all to do the live test. So if you are in a computer or in a cell phone, if you could type on the website myfootprint.ai, and I'm going to show you the journey. It's going to take us again 5 minutes, so you can calculate your carbon footprint in the next 5 minutes of your company. So I'm going to share my screen. I'll show you how it's done, but if you could please go to my carbon footprint, sorry. Yes, so you see my phone, you should get into this website, right? And you're gonna go and click on try for free, right? On green, right? You have to write on top your professional email and then just made up a password. I give you a little bit of time, so you're into there. And then you should come to this. So with this, I'm gonna try to put it with you at the same time. So business name, I'm gonna go Q, and so Manuel business. What am I? We are headed in the UK, right? If you are faster than me, you can advance, so you will be better for the Q&A. Size of your business, so we are 49 employees, and we are in tech. So industries, there we go. So I hope you're following me. You're doing the same thing. No, we have only one office. We work remotely. So no. And what about me? My name is Manuel Martin. There we go. And I have my profile. So start calculating my footprint. Yes. I'm in the phone. So basically, I'm going to let you a little bit of time. I'll do it on my own here, but if you have any questions and you want to write it on the Q&A, but basically, it's a very simple test. Again, 6 pages, 3 per page, so 15 questions that basically will calculate the carbon footprint in a very simple manner and in 5 minutes. So this is the start of the journey, and then I'll continue explaining you how is the journey done. So I'm going to do it myself. How many people working for myself? So 5. So what place is this? Home office. It's a mix. Full remote. So for us, it's a mix. So it's a mix. Basis was reference. I put 0. I mean, every time you don't know what to answer, just put 0. Doesn't really matter. What fuel did you use to heat the gas? So I did have natural gas. I'm sure there's a lot of questions while you're filling this up. I will check them once I finish this. So what kind of liquidity contract I have? I have a standard contract. I'll go to next. So how many vehicles did Manuel, how many vehicles my company owned? 0. We don't have any vehicles. How many miles did each car travel on average for 2021? So last year, what's a specific year for COVID? So let's say around 200 miles. So how did the Mediterranean commute to the office? So walk, cycle, public transport. So no commuting. So no commuting. Yes, about travel. How many short, medium, and whole flights inbound, outbound for less than did you companies did? Less, how many short, less 1 month travel miles? I would put last year the whole company, let's say 3 per person. I would say about 10. How long haul flights? So long distance flights. So let's associate one is from Germany, Argentina, and the other ones have English, Mexican. So they did commute and they took 4 flights. How many train or long distance ride in the armed data did you do on Thursday in 2021? So train long distance, let me think, we did about say every 3 months one train per 3 people, 4 times, say 12 times. Okay. How many purchased goods? How many electronics did Manuel buy in 2021? So we bought 2 computers. How many furniture and items? No items at all. Chairs, tables, etc. Not really. Didn't buy much. Okay, how many meals was served per week at the Manuel's at the HQ at the office? We were remotely, so not really. What share of the meals served were vegetarian? Not really, because we were not at the office, so none. And there we go. And with that, that should be it. So I go to finish. There we go. And for all of you, so now I don't know if there's questions on the side, but for now, I mean, I'm here on my phone, but you probably have it a better vision on your computer. So I arrived to a page where we have calculated the carbon footprint in a very simple way. Again, we just want to do a quick test. This is not the final calculation, but it's a journey. So I can understand what 26 tons of CO2 means. So it means 78,000 miles of driving. It means 1,584 pounds of meat. It means that it's equivalent to the production of 117 laptops. And it means that it's equivalent to 92 times flight from Rome to London. That's our yearly polluting factors or equivalent for my company. And we are only 5 people, right? So now we can all break down this by, if you click on utilities or transport, business travel, office supplies, you will get a better understanding of what is really the factors that impacts the most, right? So I'll help you play with all of these: utilities, transport, business travel, and office supplies, so you will understand the equivalence. And if you go down, you can also understand if of the historic emissions. You can know by employee. You can know it by turnover. So you will understand that it's not the same if you have 5 employees, you have 20 employees, and It's not the same if your turnover is 20 million or is 500,000. There's some equivalence that this will give you a good idea of what you are. So, and again, we've done it in 2021, but you can do it on every single year, 19, 19, 20, 21. Year 19 and 20, they were very strange years, as we all know. So probably you will have different data. Then, so once you go to, if you go to company footprint, so that's, let's say, what we have done is the quick measurement. Right now, to inform, you all have access to this. You all can use it and play with it in the next days. So I really encourage you to go around, play with it, try to go to the reviews. What I'm explaining today is just a quick presentation, but you can play with the tool as much as you want. You are all, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce, we would like to offer you a free pass, so you will have access to this. I'll continue with full inventory. So what we did again was a very quick carbon footprint. Now the question is, how do we enter all the data? So we're talking about data about scope 1, 2, or 3. I don't know if you know the difference of the scope 1, 2, or 3, but the quick answer is the ones that are impacting directly to our company, and scope 3 will be the ones that are impacted through third parties. So for instance, in scope 1, we know the heating. So if you go to heating, and if you go to because we wrote natural gas, we can have, we can understand what is the carbon footprint pollution. You have all of these different fields. So we're talking about heating, company fleet, electricity purchases, business travel, electronics. So directly, if you want to spend time and you want to do a proper measurement of the company, you should be going to the right, and you should click here and try to fill every single field of this, so you get a much better measurement that it will take obviously a bit more than 5 minutes. But if you have all the information, you can do it yourself. You don't need much. You just need to have all the information and a bit of time and patience, and probably in 1 hour or 2 you'll get it done. So again, we're still on the measurement, right? The next button, what I would like to show you is the reduction. If you click in videos, and you go to net zero forecast, you will have a chart that it's self-explanatory, where you can understand where your company is today in terms of carbon footprint. So imagine I am at 20 tons today. I did the test and it got 20 tons. And now the question is, when do I want to plan to be net zero? So imagine I have decided, and if you go to the right, for me it's on the bottom, but for you it's on the right. If you go and you click on the year, you decide what year you want, so 2040, or you can go to 2030 and then click save and continue. You will have this blue line, different spots, let's say, that will tell you when do you need to be net zero. So now that's your perfect journey, right? That's the journey that you could map today. The question if we are going there or not. And that depends on the actions that you as a company, you as a team, the actions that you are doing in the next 5, 10 years, actually 8 years from today. What are the actions that you will do in order to become net zero? So far, so good. I've not talked this much. I think I'm talking a lot, and I have silence on the other side, but I guess if Stephen doesn't stop me, I think this is so good so far.
We have one question
sure, go ahead.
from Paul.
Yeah.
Can you change the dates to match the company year, as in the financial year, the 1st of April to the 31st of March?
Of this year, or
rather than when you're inputting the data, can you set it to either a calendar year or a financial year?
Normally, what it's done, you go here, I mean, you break it down by categories, and normally it's year by year. I don't think you can decide if it's April or May. I'm not sure. Probably I cannot search that on from my cell phone.
It's just that over here we're now into for a number of companies who employ more than 250 people.
Right.
Then they're now starting to have to report their at least their scope 1 and scope 2 emissions in the annual report. And like I say, so some are so obviously they're looking more at the financial year rather than the calendar year.
Sure. To be honest, I'm not sure if we could do it on the financial year, but I'm sure we can change it. Just changing one thing and put it on the financial year. I don't know if it's done that way, to be honest. I need to check with my colleague in tech. So not sure if I can answer that. But I'm sure it can be fixed in a day. That's for sure, if it's not done today.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, Stephen?
Not so far. There's like I said, we're keeping an eye on the chat and the Q&A function. We've just had that one question so far.
Perfect. Could I ask to have a little bit of feedback with the people? How many people have done the test? Would you put some thumbs up, please, so I know how many?
I was going to say, if they could put in the chat, because I know I've just done it for the chamber, and of course it was a strange year. And believe it or not, East Lancs Chamber of Commerce came up with a very similar carbon footprint to yourselves.
All right, interesting.
Paul has just put into the chat that he's completed it.
Okay, perfect. Just out of curiosity, how many employees and what was the carbon footprint for Paul?
Paul, if you could drop that into the chat, that would be good. So he's got 116. I don't know if that's the employee number or the actual carbon footprint.
Okay, 160 employees or 150 is the carbon footprint?
Here we go. 24 employees, and they've got 12.3 tons of CO2. But sorry, this is Gavin, and he had to estimate the square footage. I was going to say that was something I had to guesstimate as well for the chamber. Paul has just come back and said that his carbon footprint was 116, and they have 30 employees.
30 people. All right, very good.
I would imagine that Paul is more from a manufacturing company rather than an office-based company.
Okay, good. Thank you for your feedback. So let me continue with, so what I said is we were in the measure, then we were in the reduce. So if you go to all actions.
Sorry, just before you move on, I've just got one more question whilst we're talking on this. So the reduction target. So if you put your net zero by 2040 or 2050 in line with the government, whichever target you choose, is the algorithm behind that function in line with science-based targets? So it's looking to reduce by 50%. You know, over the 5-year period, you'd look to reduce by 50%. Then the next 5-year period, you'd look to 50% again. So on a year by year, it's like a 7% reduction on a year by year to achieve that 50% in 5 years, and then another 50% in 10. Is it that type of algorithm that's in there?
So basically, the algorithm, what it says is that you as a company, as it is today, the GHG protocols, they set up the standards of what is the pollution of a plane, or what is the pollution of a car, or a small trip, or your electricity, and it changes if it's in the UK or if it's in the United States. So basically, when companies decide, for instance, that their net zero target is going to be on 2030, for instance, at that moment, there is no algorithm in place. The moment when the algorithm comes into place is when companies decide to do reductions. So if they go to in the reduce button, and if they go to all actions, here we have selected a bunch, around 60 different actions that will have an impact on every single company in order to reduce and in order to achieve that target. So here is what, to answer to your question, here is where anyone within the company or CEO or someone in charge of sustainability or an office manager, anybody could really decide a plan of what is going to be the roadmap. So imagine if they want to install, for instance, motion sensors, automatic switching off lights. We know we have an average of investment. So companies can decide, all right, I really convinced, or I want to put some investments. Some of them will be really good investments because it will pay off in the future, and they will understand the emission reduction. So they will click out to my roadmap, and this will automatically add it to the roadmap. So if we go to the net zero forecast, this has an impact. So my other line is changing depending on the decisions I made. So if you guys want to play with this and try to decide, all right, let's install solar panels, or let's try to insulate the building, or offer flexible work schedule, which is something many companies are doing right now, you could add it to the roadmap and it will have an impact on your journey. So you will understand what is the amount of funds you will put to this, and you will also understand what is the amount of carbon reduction that you will get. I don't know if this answers the question. Yeah,
I can just imagine more questions coming up, because I know I've
sure.
got questions that all start to leap in.
Sure.
So there's a menu of actions there, and you've got an average cost and an average saving. Is there the ability for, because obviously as people use this to create their own plans, and then when they actually get the real costs in from the contractors who are going to install the photovoltaics or install the insulation, do they have the ability to amend the price?
Sure. So sure, this is always talk about estimates to have a very simple measurement, but then obviously they can write, what is the size of the solar photovoltaic panels. It's not the same if they do 20 square foot that if they do 200. So they can add it to the roadmap, and they can input the exact amount of in this case of square foot. So it will have a different impact, and it will be done automatically. Also, if so here they can sort by impact or sort by investment, and also if they want to do some actions that maybe they're not one of these top the ones that I'm mentioning. So maybe there's some actions that is very unique, and they will do it by their own. They can create their own action. So they go here.
Excellent.
They write the action. They write about the reduction potential. We can help them out. Obviously, we have a sustainability manager that will help them in all this journey, and so it can be done that way as well.
No, it's just I can see some people as the impact of Public Procurement Note 6 that was issued last year starts to kick in, and people are being asked for the net zero action plans, and they're using the Cabinet Office's template to report on their targets and their performance. This will be quite a handy tool to actually help them complete that document.
Sure. Every single country, they have kind of document, Excel sheet. Some companies they go to that. Sometimes it's on an Excel, and they try to fill everything out. Some companies they use small software companies, which is very easy to use, and they do it maybe in a faster way. But yes, again, we're just one of the solutions. There's thousands of tools and solutions to measure your carbon footprint. It is that companies have, at least they start the journey, whatever the way they decide. But they start the journey because, again, regulation will be there, and the later companies do it, the more, I mean, they will be behind their sector, and it's better to be advanced in something that it can be done in a very simple way.
Martin, we've lost your screen.
Am I again there?
I was going to say, have you stopped sharing your screen?
No, I am. Let me.
Now we can see you. Yes.
Okay, I'm back.
But we're not seeing your image of the software. There we go.
There we
now
go.
We're
okay.
back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for the feedback. Okay, so measure, reduce, offset. So here in the offset, imagine you want to do some offsetting for projects in Guatemala, or like planting trees, or a project like solar panels in India. You can decide the project that you want, and you can invest in that. You will get certification from one of the largest companies out there, and that certification will guarantee that your money has gone to offsetting X amounts of tons of CO2. So that's something, I mean, very few companies are doing this right now, but it's an option you can do. But yeah, that's the third pillar, let's say, of our platform. And four is the communication, which I think it's the communication is super interesting. The communication I have completed. So when we were filling out the test, I haven't marked completed actions. So I need to go and select 3 actions. So from my current, so let's see, I am able to do it on the cell phone. So next financial year. All right, so I have started this action. That's one. Right. And then if I go, so, oh, yes. I don't know if you guys know what we need to do. So you need to go on the all actions. So in order to communicate, you need to do 3 things. You need to communicate that you have done some plan before, you have some plan in the future, and third, you need to communicate your net zero target. So if you, I think you'll be better doing this at your computers than me. But once you do that, so I have started this journey. So style motion says sensors automatically. Okay, this is the year. Yeah. This is the year I start. That's my investment. It's been started, and let's say completed. Okay, that's one action, and you guys have to select 3 of them, and then you will go to the communicate part, and it will explain you basically. It will show you the what we call the net zero business badge. Okay, the net zero business badge is what we give to companies that again has done 3 things. They have selected 3 action plans. They have done some plans in the future, in the past for reducing. They have selected some in the future, and they have decided to make publicly they will become net zero. So with that, they get a call from one of our consultants. They verify that all the data is correct, and they do the onboarding correctly. And once they have that, they will get the net zero badge, which is this badge that you see here. I think it's a little bit boring. This net zero badge, some companies are putting them on their emails. Some companies are putting them on social media. Some companies are putting this on their website. The good thing is that the impact is, it's enormous from what we're seeing. Companies that are really telling the whole world that they are becoming the journey to become net zero, and they put this in social media, you'll be amazed of how many people react, replies, how much engagement, how clients they really communicate back, and they're extremely happy to see that one of their the companies that they get their products, they are on the way to net zero. Any other questions, Stephen? That with this, yeah, I think I'll stop sharing. Oh, I don't hear you well. I think maybe you're on mute.
Classic. No, yeah. Classic. It was me. Paul has popped out there that I noticed in the full inventory there is no mention of things like water, hotels, waste disposal, LPG. So these are the detail. So if people have been doing them manually up to now, they've been using the government's greenhouse gas conversion factors, and they've been taking the measurements down in a very granular detail, down to the bottles of LPG to power the forklift trucks. So it's those operational things that obviously they can control, they can manage, they can measure.
Sure, Stephen. At the end of the day, every single sector, they have their own specifications, right? Hotels, they have towels, they have plastic bottles, they have. So it's we receive several concerns about a specific sector, and we help them to maybe create their own little subtitles for bottles or towels or visitors.
I don't know. Sorry. For example, with business travel, when we're doing when we're manually calculating the carbon footprint, we will take all the business journeys by train, by plane, and we'll capture all that. So we'll get the mileage or the passenger kilometer data. But then we also look, because within the UK government's reporting structures, we will also look at overnight stays in hotels in different countries, or whether inside London or outside London, because there's a different conversion factor for those the differences between the hotels. So we do have a conversion factor, which is part of the UK government's greenhouse gas conversion factors for company reporting. So are you able to add additional items to your platform?
Yeah. So basically, when we geolocalize, depending, I mean, we have clients from 8 different countries right now. So if a client comes from the United States, or come from France, where I am today, I am in Paris. So it has all the automatically, it will calculate the carbon footprint of the regulations of that country, let's say the GG protocol in that specific country. And second, as you said, companies can, I mean, we've done it in a very simple way. So companies, it is very simple. But again, if there is a very, very specific niche sectorial measurements that we haven't put in the platform, some companies can add it themselves, or they ask us, and the sustainability manager can help them out.
Okay. I'm looking down in the Q&A function. There's no other questions there. Just quickly looking through the chat. There's no other questions. I have one more, and sorry, this is because you've unpicked the thing that always winds me up: carbon offsetting. So have you got a pre-selected range of carbon offsets that are certified, or, and again, this is where the locality issue comes in. So for example, in the northwest of England, we have the Lancashire Woodland Connect program. So this is a local charitable organization who has set up a carbon offsetting program that is guaranteed by the UK government. because people would like their offsets to be local rather than in the Amazon rainforest or such like. Again, do people have the ability to actually either, because of course if the offset isn't recognized on your platform, when they push the reporting button, it isn't going to take that into account.
Sure. So what we've done so far is that we have partnered with a company called CO2Logic, which is one of the biggest in the world, and we're the offset. I mean, our platform is just a marketplace. So we have selected 5 projects from CO2Logic that are certified, and they're the best there are around the world. But now the question is that we are receiving many companies who have local projects who want to put their option for any companies to invest in them, basically. And this is a project that we will have, and we'll be. I mean, we're very happy to receive this kind of request. And probably by the end of the year, we will have a specification for local projects. So any single project from a local forest to a marine wave. I mean, whatever investment, it will be there. It will be very local, and so companies could really a corporation could use our SaaS to invest locally, where they have their clients, where they have their resources, and yeah. So.
Right. Okay, I'm looking down at the nothing else in the Q&A session there. So if there are no further questions, and of course, the moment I start doing my closing, someone will pop a question into the chat function. So if there are no further questions, I'd like to thank Manuel for his time, expertise, and insights today. I'd also like to thank you for your attendance. We hope you found it interesting and thought-provoking. And for those of us who do it manually, is this the quick way? To find out more about our next events, or indeed anything about the program, you can always visit our website and get in touch with us via the media channels in front of us. So on that note, I'd like to wish you a good day and stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you soon. And you never know, in person would be brilliant. So thank you very much, and see you all soon.
Thank you.
Bye.